For 14-year-old Burke Bear, genetically modified organisms just don't fly.
I discovered the dark side of the industrialized food system. First, there's genetically engineered seeds and organisms. That is when a seed is manipulated in a laboratory to do something not intended by nature, like taking the DNA of a fish and putting it into the DNA of a tomato. Yuck. Don't get me wrong. I like fish and tomatoes, but this is just creepy. The seeds are then planted, then grown. The food they produce have been proven to cause cancer and other problems in lab animals. And people have been eating food produced this way since the 1990s. And most folks don't even know they exist.
Burke was 11 when he filmed this, and at age 14, he's still on the go against GMOs. Turns out Burke's passion started with one decision.
Now, a while back, I wanted to be an NFL football player. I decided that I'd rather be an organic farmer instead. That way... And that way I can have a greater impact on the world.
I asked Burke what he thinks should be done about genetically modified foods.
First, we need to get GMOs labeled so we can educate the public and so that they can start getting curious and knowing what's in their food and looking for, the labels. And number two, so that we can eventually get them either banned or, just totally kicked out of the country.
Burke explained that farmers who don't play by Monsanto's rules often find themselves at the wrong end of lawsuits, like Toronto-based farmer Percy Smizer, whose 7-year battle with Monsanto nearly took the family farm. Smizer was a canola farmer and seed breeder for 50 years when in 1997 Monsanto developed canola seed ended up on his farm. The origin of the Roundup Ready seed remains unknown, but Smizer adapted the seed and harvested it in 1998. Monsanto learned that Smizer was growing a crop of Roundup-resistant canola and took him to court for patent infringement when the farmer wouldn't pay a licensing fee for the seeds. The case went all the way to the Canadian Supreme Court, which voted 5-4 in favor of Monsanto.
Monsanto will go and sue these farmers, whether it be organic farmers, non-GMO farmers, seed savers, and they'll sue them for all their money or, as much as they can, and for patent infringement, and then they will eventually, put the person out of business. And I just find it crazy because, number one, these people, they don't even want the seed or the GM seed that Monsanto sells. And number two, it's just total contamination of, GM crops being right next door to whether it be an organic farm or a non-GMO farm, just total encroachment and, being able to contaminate people's land. I think that it should be Monsanto having to pay damages for having these contaminated crops rather than the farmers have to pay for court bills and court costs.
It's cases like these that give Burke the fuel to keep on pushing. Well, now that you met David, take a look at Goliath. Behind me is Washington, D.C.'s Monsanto office, and they produce those seeds that Burke was talking about.
Why I do what I do is to get people to really look into their food system and to wonder what they're eating.
Well, for now, it's companies like Monsanto that have the ear of the government and their influence over our global food supply. But with people like Burke Bear voicing their opinion, that might not always be the case. In Washington, Margaret Howell, RT.